Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about the ending of episode 2 and how this could possibly potentially set up a really crazy finale here. And obviously, before we go any further, I do have to warn you that this will contain spoilers for episode 2, so I hope you guys have watched the episode. And as well, if you do want more Walking Dead content like this, then definitely make sure to be a subscriber. But the ending of episode 2, we saw Jadis say something to Rick that obviously was really unexpected. I mean, I think a lot of us have always sort of, I guess figured that would be the case anyways, but I guess that wasn't ever said before. And so Jada's saying that now, and considering that Rick and Michonne are probably going to leave at some point, I'm really wondering if it does actually happen. Like, I'm looking at the show overall and I'm just thinking about, the threat of the CRM and, there has to be certain things that our characters go through in terms of, just to make the story a little bit more interesting. And I'm wondering if they are going to go here. And I wonder if in the finale to the show, if they're actually going to destroy Alexandria. So like I said, at the end of episode 2, Jadis found out that Rick and Michonne obviously found each other and gave a warning to Rick saying that if you guys try to escape, really, I feel like she's going to have an issue with Rick and Michonne even, being around each other at all. Right. So I think that I'm not sure what her next move is entirely. I don't know if she's going to try and get Michonne taken away from the CRM, because I feel like that has to be her next plan, right? She's not going to be okay with Michonne just staying there, so we'll see where they go next. But Jadis' warning to Rick was that if you guys try to escape, I'm going to destroy everything that you love, basically. And obviously that's referring to Alexandria and every single person that was there. And so because in episode 2 we did see chlorine gas getting dropped on communities and all that, and we know the CRM does that. And that's something that, we've been seeing in every episode. In episode 1, Okafor attacked Atlanta, Los Angeles, and he was going to Philadelphia, but stopped. In this one here, we saw it happen as well. In World Beyond, a moment like that actually did happen as well. But I will say, in terms of all these places getting attacked, it's not like there's a lot of consequences for our characters. Like, yes, the story changes and, they can't go in these places and it's shocking and it's heartbreaking and all that. But in terms of our characters dealing with it personally, I mean, I guess Michonne, right? Michonne obviously went through it, but there wasn't anything done yet where it really, I feel like, affected our characters a lot. And I feel like if you were to actually destroy Alexandria, if the CRM actually destroyed Alexandria, I think that's a perfect way in getting the Commonwealth and all of that set up for, I guess, obviously a conflict with the CRM, right? Like if that actually did happen, then you would have the Commonwealth, maybe probably not in a season 2 or a 3, but there would be a lot of they would be wondering what's going on kind of thing, unless they're already aware of the CRM. I'm not entirely sure. Like, we still don't know the connections there, but if that did happen, obviously there would be some issues there as well, right? So the CRM would be making way more enemies, and obviously Rick and Michonne, at first, it would really seem like they lost everything, right? Because you got to remember, if they did attack Alexandria, no one is in Alexandria anymore, right? The finale could seem really heartbreaking where they go and destroy Alexandria, but no one's there. But Rick and Michonne don't know that. So for them, they're going to be obviously destroyed and everything, It's going to be one of the craziest cliffhangers ever, the craziest ending to all of this here. But they tried to escape and Jadis warned them before, right? But, the thing about it is obviously Judith and everyone else, they're at the Commonwealth now, right? They're not in Alexandria anymore. So they will be safe, but Rick and Michonne don't know that. I feel like this would be a really amazing ending, and it would be such a perfect way to set up a season 2, because you got Rick and Michonne together, you told all of those stories, and we're getting all that still right now, and you're setting up the CRM and all of that, but the CRM still has to do something where it's very threatening to our characters. And then there's I don't know, they just have to do something a little bit more here. And I do think destroying Alexandria would definitely affect everyone. It really would affect everyone. And then everyone's involved. Like, if Maggie and Negan find out, they're going to be involved. If Daryl finds out, and Carol, I mean, they're in France right now, but eventually they will be involved, right? So I think it's a perfect way in setting up a season 2, a perfect way in connecting the CRM storyline with everyone else, and everyone else finding out more about the CRM and eventually about Rick and Michonne, right? Because a lot of people don't know that Rick's alive, and they'll find out that Michonne actually found Rick. And one other thing to this too is that the sets for Alexandria aren't really built anymore. They took them down a long time ago, and I'm not saying they couldn't rebuild the sets or something for filming. They could obviously do something like that. But I just feel like at this point now they're at the Commonwealth, and I think that that's just going to be any future storyline now. I think that they'll just be farther away from Alexandria. And if they're ever going to do something with Alexandria, it's going to be I don't know, that's the thing. Is there even a point in a lot of it, right? I just don't know if there's an actual point in bringing back Alexandria, considering no one's really there anymore. It's a Commonwealth outpost right now, right? maybe some people are staying there still, but I feel like that's not really going to be the case overall. I feel like it's going to be kind of one of those things where they're just away from it now, because Hilltop was sort of like that's gone now, right? Like they're not even going to be going back to the Hilltop anymore because Maggie is now at the Bricks. So, with the Kingdom gone, the Hilltop gone now, I just feel like it makes sense to move away from that place now and just be more at the Commonwealth, right? I think it makes a lot more sense at this point here. So if they're starting to go away from all that and, focus on a different, location, all that for the show, I think it makes sense. Because that's also one of the things too that I would say, like, they don't need to be in Alexandria anymore. Like they were there for a long time. For the first, 4 to 5 seasons, they were, going from community to community, and then they just stayed in Alexandria forever, right? And so I think it's time to move communities to do something else. And I think, if it's going to service the story here, it makes sense. And for something as big as this, with the CRM actually being capable of doing something like this, it makes sense. If there's a way you can make the story really exciting like this, I think you do that. Because again, it's not like they're killing off a bunch of characters, right? Like, no one's really in Alexandria anymore. I feel like it's just going to be Commonwealth soldiers that are there, right? There'll be some people and all of that, but maybe there's some, like, main characters that are there. I'm not entirely sure, but I do think overall, everyone's kind of living at the Commonwealth now. So I think this would be, honestly, a very smart move. I think that they can, at this point, get rid of Alexandria, because I don't think we're really going to see that place anymore. I really don't. And I just think that they can focus on, building a community somewhere else now. And I think that would make everything a little bit more exciting and just new and different, right? Because our characters are used to just sort of surviving like that. And I just think the story, it needs that much of a refresher. So I think that they should do something like that. And I will say, I think Jadis, she does seem to be the big villain of the show. Just because of what she said there. And also because, in episode 5, I think there's supposed to be that scene that happens with, it's a car chase scene or whatever. And it just doesn't seem like Beal, like Major General Beal, isn't really that much in this show. Like, he seems to be just sort of something that is, he's being introduced right now, but he'll be more of a season 2 thing or a season 3 thing. Like, obviously, if they do a season 2 kind of thing, right? And I just don't think he's going to have the biggest role in this first season. Like, he wasn't in episode 2. In episode 1, he was there for a little bit, and he really was just there to talk with Rick about Okafor. It was just a really, like, again, it was a small scene, and he was kind of, again, to the whole thing, like, no one talks about him really at all, right? So he could be there in episode 3. There's that one scene where there's like a funeral, I feel like, being held for Okafor. I don't know if it's him or if it's someone else, but I feel like it's going to be him. He could be there for that. And then I don't know at that point, like, there's going to be other scenes of him for sure. But if you look at episode 4, Rick and Michonne, I feel like at that point are actually going to get away. And then in episode 5, I think Jadis is hunting them down. So at this point, there's no Major General Beal really at all. He might be there in a scene or something, but it's not like he has this close connection with Rick immediately. Like, there's not a lot happening there. It's like Jadis is the villain, right? And then maybe in the finale, I feel like the finale is where Beal will really come into play. But again, like, you have a character like Major General Beal, who's like the big villain here, and people have been so excited about him, and you're not really using him until the finale. That to me is like I don't think they would ever do that with any of the previous villains. So I feel like that kind of confirms that, they want to do more story here. And Jadis was most likely the big villain of this first season. So I think Jadis, honestly, as much as I don't want to see her die, because I really do like her character, I think she could actually die at some point here in this show. And I think that, I mean, maybe it ends up being a thing where Beal is upset, that Jadis messed up with some stuff with Rick and Michonne, and maybe he's the one that does it, right? Maybe he's the one that causes the ending thing to happen. And then he also kills Jadis kind of thing, and it makes him seem very threatening. And that's obviously a lot of just excitement created right there for a season 2, right? Because I just kind of feel like that's exactly where we're going here with the story. It feels like the finale here is just going to be so insane that there's going to be a really shocking moment that does happen, and obviously it makes us really excited about a season 2, because again, like, The Walking Dead, or AMC actually posted online that The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live is the #1 cable drama of 2023/2024. So I'm not entirely sure what that means, if that's like throughout the 2023 to 2024 year, like if that's like from fall to fall kind of thing. Because I know that some TV stations, or I guess networks, they view like a season or like a year starting from like September to like, the next end of the summer or whatever. So obviously, any other show that airs this year could could probably, you know, take this spot and become #1 at some point here. But this is incredible. The fact that The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live has a rating of not a rating, but actually accomplished this right here. This says so much here. I don't know how AMC doesn't do a season 2 at this point. Like, I feel like it's so obvious. I think that they really wanted to like see how this was going to perform overall. And again, I think a lot of people were like, honestly, for me, I wasn't expecting the ratings to be like this. I figured they would be really good. I didn't think they were going to break records like this though. Like, I didn't expect all of this. And I didn't expect everyone to be talking about it. Like, there's people who haven't talked about The Walking Dead in years and they're all talking about everything, right? Like, I wasn't expecting this big of a reaction here. Like, it's honestly really incredible. It's really awesome to see. So I just feel like there is going to be a season 2. And I think that this ending here for finale would be absolutely incredible. And I feel like would definitely, you know, create a lot of excitement for the future. Like, we would all be waiting for a season 2. Like, even the people that don't watch the other shows and all of that, if they're just waiting for a season 2 of this show, you know, just because of how it ended, they'll be really excited for it. And the one thing about that too, which is really good, is that they'll probably have to get on writing that right away. And I feel like that show would probably be out in late 2025. So we'll have Dead City and Daryl Dixon. We'll probably have 2 seasons of Daryl Dixon by the time the next season of this show came out. And then I think Dead City will come out early 2025. But yeah, I would figure that, you know, this show here would probably be out in late 2025. So because you don't want to wait too long, right? Like, if you wait way too long, people could lose interest, right? So you do have to, we're not going to be waiting as long as we waited. Though I will say, I think the wait for this show was probably smart because I think people just got a break from it. Like, the people that can't watch The Walking Dead, you know, that aren't a big fan of the overall universe, at least in terms of how much, like, I'm a fan anyways, a break from it was probably needed, right? And so I think, like, that's the one thing with this show is I've been seeing a lot of people just start with just watching this show and not really, you know, starting with all the spinoffs and like finishing the show. They're just like starting with The Ones Who Live, which is really incredible because this show is sort of being seen as like a brand new show that's out there that everyone's starting to like. So that's very interesting. It's like a whole new audience just discovering this. So yeah, but I'm definitely really excited for, you know, to see where this goes here in the finale. I just think it would be really cool, you know, to see Rick and Michonne's reaction to it. It'd be such a dark ending to this whole season here, but I feel like would perfectly set up Major General Beal. And if Jadis survives, you know, her, I guess, as a villain as well. And I think, again, this season has been like too positive so far, right? Like, yes, there's been some stuff that we've seen them go through. There's been like all these things or whatever, but like they found each other and like, what, are they just going to get away now? Is everything just going to go, you know, as planned now, basically? Like, I feel like there's going to be some happy moments coming up in the next couple of episodes, but it's got to end in a way where it's not just like, that's it, right? There's just no way. I do think, like, because of the ratings here, I think for sure we can all, you know, AMC is going to want a season 2. And because the actors aren't against it, like, they are very open to it, right? I think they just want to see how it does overall. I think because of the stuff that has come out, like, in terms of the ratings and stuff, and the fact that it's actually, like, honestly, I'm so surprised by it. I think that they're going to be like, yeah, you know what, we could probably do a season 2. But again, it depends on how this show ends. Because, like, what if Rick and Michonne just die? Like, then that would just, like, obviously, we don't really want a season 2 then, right? Because it would focus on other characters. But anyways, post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.